welcome to the Deep Dive. This week, you shared Andrew Kagan's tech newsletter with us.
Yeah.
And it's packed with those kind of random but useful tech news items that make you go, huh.
Right.
I might actually need that someday. We're talking Azure updates,
Yeah.
AI tools you didn't even know existed,
Yeah.
even a little bit of nostalgia for those who remember the early days of Windows.
Absolutely. What I think is really great about Andrew's approach is that he curates these nuggets from across the entire tech landscape, right? We've got Azure, Microsoft 365, Power Platform, DevOps, data, and AI,
Wow.
security, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right in.
Okay, so first up, Azure.
Okay.
There's this video on private DNS internet fallback that I thought was interesting. It seems like one of those things that's super simple but could save you a ton of hassle later on down the line.
It absolutely is. Think of it this way. Your website relies on DNS to connect users to the right server.
Right.
But what happens if your primary DNS server goes down? That's where private DNS internet fallback comes in.
Okay.
It's like a safety net.
Uh-huh.
It'll automatically redirect traffic to a backup DNS server, preventing a complete outage.
So it's kind of like having a spare tire for your website.
Exactly.
You might not need it often,
Right.
but when you do, you're really grateful you have it.
You are.
And the best part is it's surprisingly easy to set up.
Oh, yeah.
You can do it with a few clicks in the Azure portal.
Yep.
Now, onto something a bit more complex, but still potentially very impactful.
Okay.
Andrew highlighted Azure NetApp files for silicon design.
Yeah.
I have to admit, my eyes kind of glazed over at first. But then I realized this is actually connected to something we're all experiencing. The global chip shortage.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Not the catchiest headline,
No, it's not.
but the implications are huge.
Yeah.
We're talking about using Azure's high-performance computing power to speed up the design of these really complex computer chips. And that is crucial because whoever can design and manufacture chips faster has a serious advantage in today's tech world.
Oh, absolutely.
Imagine faster development of new phones, laptops,
Yeah.
even advancements in AI,
Yeah.
all because chip design got a turbo boost.
So while most of us won't be designing chips ourselves,
Right.
this could trickle down and affect everything.
Totally.
From the price of electronics to the pace of innovation in a bunch of different industries.
Absolutely. And for those of you in fields that rely heavily on that cutting-edge technology,
Yeah.
this could mean being able to access new tools and new capabilities sooner rather than later.
Okay, before we leave Azure, let's talk about security.
Okay.
There's a video on updating Azure Web Application firewall rule sets.
Right.
And this one seems geared toward the developers out there.
Sure.
But I think the general takeaway is relevant to anyone who manages websites or applications.
It is. Even really experienced developers sometimes make mistakes when they're configuring security settings. And so this video is all about preventing those common pitfalls and ensuring that your web applications are protected from attacks.
So it's like a checklist of best practices
Exactly.
to avoid those, oh no, why didn't I think of that moment?
Yeah. And when it comes to security, it's always better to be proactive than reactive, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Let's move on.
Let's move on to Microsoft 365.
Okay.
And this one is for all the marketing folks out there.
Right.
Trackable newsletters in Outlook.
Ooh.
This feels like a game changer for email marketing.
It is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to see not just who opened your email,
Yeah.
but what links they clicked on.
Oh, wow.
How long they spent reading each section.
Yeah.
It's like having this built-in analytics dashboard for all your email campaigns.
So instead of just blasting out a newsletter and hoping for the best, you can actually see how people are engaging with your content. And then tailor future campaigns based on that.
Exactly. And that kind of data can be so valuable for improving your open rates, click-through rates.
Oh, yeah.
And ultimately your conversion rates.
So this could mean a whole new level of personalization and effectiveness for these email marketing campaigns.
Precisely. And it's all within the familiar interface of Outlook.
Yeah.
Which most of us are already using every day.
Another interesting tidbit from the Microsoft 365 world is this article on SharePoint embedded collaboration.
Yeah.
This seems like it could streamline workflows and improve teamwork on projects.
It absolutely could. The idea is to make collaboration more seamless by integrating it directly into the tools that people are already using.
Right.
So imagine being able to work on a document within SharePoint and have a conversation about it right there in the document without having to switch between multiple applications.
So instead of emailing back and forth and attaching different versions,
You're right.
you're all working together in real time
Yeah.
within the same platform.
Exactly. And so what could that potentially do? Reduce confusion,
Right.
minimize those version control issues,
Yeah.
and just make collaboration feel much more natural and intuitive.
Now let's venture into the world of Power Platform and Dynamics 365.
Okay.
Security is always a hot topic.
Always.
And there's a video on securing Microsoft Copilot Studio with external connectors.
Right.
Given all the buzz around AI integration these days, this seems especially relevant.
It is, and it addresses a very real concern, right?
Yeah.
How do we make sure that these AI tools, especially the ones that connect to all these external systems, how do we make sure that they're secure?
Right.
So this video walks you through all the steps you can take to protect your data.
Okay.
Prevent unauthorized access when you're using Copilot Studio with external connectors.
So it's kind of like a security checklist for anyone using AI tools in their business processes.
Exactly. It really highlights the fact that while AI can be incredibly powerful,
Yeah.
we need to be mindful of the security implications.
Right.
And take appropriate precautions.
And then there's this fun little highlight, a video series called Powerful Devs Hack Together.
Oh, yeah. I love this.
I always love hearing about hackathons.
Me too.
It's amazing what people can create in such a short amount of time when they've just pinned their minds together.
It's true. Hackathons are just a fantastic way to foster creativity,
Yeah.
collaboration, and problem solving.
Totally.
And this series showcases some of the really innovative solutions that developers are coming up with using the Power Platform.
So even if you're not a developer yourself,
Right.
it's inspiring to see what's possible
Totally.
with a little bit of ingenuity and teamwork.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that sometimes the best ideas come from unexpected places.
Yeah.
And that anyone can be an innovator.
All right, let's shift gears and talk about DevOps, SRE, and infrastructure.
Okay.
One item that caught my attention was the announcement that code review in GitHub Copilot is now in public preview.
Nice.
Now, for our listeners who aren't coders, can you explain what Copilot is and why this is significant?
Of course. So GitHub Copilot is essentially an AI-powered coding assistant.
Okay.
It helps developers write code faster and more efficiently by suggesting code snippets, identifying potential errors,
Right.
and even generating entire functions.
That's really cool.
It is. And now with the public preview of Code Review in Copilot, it can also help developers identify potential issues during the code review process, which is, a crucial part of software development.
So it's like having an extra set of eyes,
Right.
or rather an extra AI brain,
Yeah.
to help catch those pesky bugs and ensure the quality of the code.
Exactly. It can really streamline that code review process, make it more efficient, and ultimately lead to higher quality software.
And speaking of software, there's a video about the EW Windows shell,
Yeah.
Warp.
Yeah.
Now, this one might be a bit nostalgic for those of us who remember the early days of Windows,
Yeah, it's a blast from the past.
but it seems like it's causing a stir, even among retired developers.
It is. And it's interesting because it feels like Microsoft is revisiting some of those old ideas and giving them a modern twist. The Windows shell has always been such a fundamental part of the user experience.
Right.
And it seems like they're trying to reimagine it for the modern era.
So is this a sign of a major shift in Windows development, or just a little bit of experimentation?
It's tough to say for sure at this point.
Yeah.
But it's definitely generating a lot of buzz.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see how it evolves.
Okay, let's dive into the world of data analytics and AI.
Okay.
One article that really caught my eye was how AI agents are starting to automate the enterprise.
Yeah.
Now, that sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
Right.
But it seems like it's becoming a reality.
It is. And it's all thanks to these incredible advancements in artificial intelligence and machine learning. AI agents are essentially software programs that can perform tasks autonomously.
Right.
Think of them like digital assistants that can analyze data. Yeah.
Make decisions.
Wow.
And even take actions based on predefined rules.
So instead of having humans manually perform these repetitive tasks,
Right.
these AI agents can handle them,
Yeah.
freeing up humans to focus on more creative
Yep.
and strategic work.
Exactly. And that's why it's such a big deal for enterprises.
Yeah.
It has the potential to streamline operations,
Right.
increase efficiency, and even create new opportunities for innovation.
But I imagine it also raises some concerns about the future of work.
Sure.
Are we all going to be replaced by robots?
That's a common fear, But it's important to remember that AI is a tool.
Okay.
It's not about replacing humans,
Yeah.
but about augmenting our capabilities
Yeah.
and allowing us to work smarter, not harder.
So it's about finding the right balance
Yeah.
between human intelligence and artificial intelligence.
Exactly. And that's where the real opportunity lies.
Yeah.
Finding ways to leverage AI to enhance our work
Right.
and create a more productive and fulfilling future. Another item in the data and AI realm is a video on SQL databases and Fabric versus Azure SQL.
Okay.
This one sounds pretty technical,
Sure.
but I think it boils down to a question that many businesses are facing.
Yeah.
How do we manage our data in the cloud effectively?
You're absolutely right. It's a fundamental question.
Yeah.
And choosing the right database solution can have a huge impact on a business's efficiency, scalability, and cost. So this video explores the pros and cons of two popular options: SQL databases in Fabric and Azure SQL,
Right?
to help viewers understand which might be the best fit for their specific needs.
So it's like a guide to navigating the complex world of cloud databases.
Exactly. And as more and more businesses move their operations to the cloud, understanding these options is crucial for success.
Okay, let's move on to security, compliance, and privacy.
Okay.
We got a little bit of cybersecurity drama here. Microsoft 365 accounts get sprayed by mega botnet.
Oh, boy.
First of all, for those who aren't familiar with the term, can you explain what a botnet is?
Imagine a network of infected computers,
Okay.
all controlled by a hacker.
Right.
So this network, or botnet, can be used to launch these large-scale attacks.
Okay.
And in this case, the botnet was used to spray Microsoft 365 accounts with login attempts,
Right.
hoping to compromise accounts that have weak passwords.
So it's like a swarm of digital attackers all working together to break into accounts.
Exactly. And that's why botnets are so dangerous. They can amplify the scale and impact of attacks so significantly.
And how did this particular attack happen?
It seems like the attackers used a combination of techniques, including credential stuffing, where they use stolen usernames and passwords from other breaches, and brute force attacks, where they systematically try different password combinations until they find one that works.
So it's a reminder that even with strong security measures in place, there's always a risk.
Absolutely. It highlights the importance of using strong, unique passwords for all of your online accounts, enabling two-factor authentication whenever possible, and being cautious about phishing emails and suspicious links.
This leads nicely into the next article, which focuses on the 5 pillars for data cybersecurity. And this one seems to take a more holistic approach to security, rather than just listing specific tips.
Exactly. It's about understanding those underlying principles of data security,
Okay.
which are relevant whether you're a large corporation or an individual just managing your own personal information online.
Okay.
So the 5 pillars they outline are confidentiality, integrity, availability, authenticity, and non-repudiation.
Okay. I have to admit, some of those sound a little technical.
Sure.
Can you break those down for us?
Of course. So confidentiality means ensuring that only authorized individuals have access to sensitive data.
Right.
Integrity means ensuring that data is accurate and that it hasn't been tampered with. Availability means ensuring that the data is accessible when needed. Authenticity means verifying the identity of users and systems. Right. Non-repudiation means ensuring that actions can be traced back to their source.
Got it.
Preventing someone from denying that they took a certain action.
So it's about creating this multi-layered approach to security, covering all the bases.
Exactly. And by understanding these principles, you can make more informed decisions about how to protect your data. Both personally and professionally.
All right, let's move on to learning and certifications.
Okay.
And I have to say, this first one caught my eye because I'm a big fan of the tool myself. Leveraging Notion for developers.
Oh, cool.
Now, Notion is a fantastic tool for organization and productivity.
Yeah, it is.
Even if you're not a developer. But I'm curious to hear how developers are using it specifically.
Well, Notion is incredibly versatile.
Yeah.
So developers are using it for everything from documenting code to managing projects to creating knowledge bases for their teams.
So it's like a central hub for all of their development work.
Exactly. And because it's so customizable, developers can really tailor it to their specific needs and workflows.
And of course, we can't talk about learning without mentioning the ever-growing number of AI courses now available.
Oh, yeah, it's exploding.
There's even one specifically on mastering Microsoft Copilot Studio.
I saw that.
It's a clear indication of how AI is becoming increasingly integrated into all these different industries and job roles.
Totally.
Professionals really need to stay ahead of the curve and acquire new skills to stay relevant in this evolving landscape.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about understanding AI conceptually,
Right.
but also about learning how to use specific AI tools and platforms.
Exactly. And as AI continues to evolve, we can expect to see even more specialized training and certifications emerge.
All right, let's wrap up this part of our deep dive.
Okay.
With a look at industry news and trends.
Sounds good.
We've got some big names and some big claims here. Satya Nadella on Microsoft's AGI plan and quantum breakthrough. What's the reality check on this one?
Well, it's important to separate the hype from the reality.
Okay.
While AGI or artificial general intelligence and quantum computing are certainly really exciting areas of development, we're still in those early stages.
Yeah. So we're not quite at the point of having sentient AI.
Not quite yet.
Or quantum computers solving all of our problems.
Not just yet.
But these are areas that hold immense potential. And it's worth paying attention to the advancements being made.
Totally.
And then there's this news about Velar Atomics coming out of stealth mode.
Right.
With a pilot reactor site for nuclear fusion.
Okay.
Nuclear fusion news is always exciting.
It is.
But it also tends to come with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Nuclear fusion has long been seen as this holy grail of energy production.
Yeah.
Promising clean and virtually limitless power.
Right.
However, there are still some major hurdles to overcome before it becomes commercially viable.
So should we be tempering our excitement?
It's important to be realistic about the timeline and the challenges ahead, but the potential benefits are so significant that it's definitely worth pursuing.
Right.
If we can crack the code of fusion power, it could truly transform the world.
Well, that was quite a whirlwind tour through part of Andrew Kagan's tech newsletter. It's amazing how much is happening in the world of technology right now.
It is a constant evolution.
Yeah.
And it's so important to stay informed and engaged.
Yeah.
Who knows what groundbreaking innovations await us in the coming years?
Speaking of groundbreaking innovations, in the next part of our deep dive, we'll continue exploring some of the more practical takeaways from Andrew's newsletter.
Okay.
Including tips on leveraging AI for productivity and navigating the complex world of cloud databases.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned.
It's fascinating to see how these themes like AI and security, are kind of interwoven throughout Andrew's newsletter.
Yeah.
It really reflects that broader tech landscape where, these forces are really shaping the future of how we work and how we live.
Absolutely. And speaking of AI upgrades, in the last part we touched on how AI agents are automating the enterprise.
Right.
It's a little mind-blowing to think about these digital assistants like making decisions and taking actions on their own.
Yeah, I know. And the potential impact on productivity is just huge.
Yeah.
Imagine if AI agents could handle all those, those repetitive tasks that just bog us down, like data entry, scheduling, even like basic customer service interactions. Think about all the time that would free up for humans to focus on more strategic, creative problem-solving tasks.
That sounds amazing in theory.
Right.
But I'm sure there were some people out there who are a little worried about the implications for their jobs.
Sure.
It's easy to just jump to that robots are taking over scenario.
I get it. I understand the concern, but I really think it's important to view AI as a tool that can augment our capabilities.
Right.
Not replace us entirely. Think of it like the invention of the calculator. It didn't eliminate the need for mathematicians, but it did change the nature of their work. It allowed them to tackle these more complex problems.
So instead of fearing AI, we should be thinking about how to adapt and leverage it to our advantage.
Exactly. And that might involve learning new skills, focusing on tasks that require, uniquely human abilities, or even collaborating with AI agents to achieve better outcomes.
Speaking of collaboration, you know what else caught my eye in the Microsoft 365 section? That article on SharePoint embedded collaboration.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
I can really see this changing the way teams work together on projects.
For sure. It's all about breaking down those silos and making communication more seamless.
Right.
So instead of, constantly switching between email, chat apps, different document versions, imagine being able to work on a document within SharePoint Okay.
And have that entire conversation about it right there in context.
So no more like digging through endless email chains to find that one crucial comment or attachment.
Exactly. And with everyone working on the same version of a document, in real time, it could potentially eliminate a lot of the confusion and version control headaches.
Right. Okay. Let's pivot back to Azure for a moment.
Okay.
I know we talked about private DNS, internet fallback earlier, but I think it's worth emphasizing just how simple and potentially impactful that feature is.
It is.
It's like a small insurance policy that could save you a lot of trouble down the line.
Exactly. It's one of those things you set up and you kind of forget about it until you really need it.
Yeah.
But when you do, you'll be so grateful you have it.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine your primary DNS server goes down.
Right.
Without that fallback, your website could be completely inaccessible.
It's like having a backup generator for your house.
You might not need it often, but when the power goes out, you're really glad you have it.
You are. And the best part is it's surprisingly easy to set up.
Yeah.
Microsoft has done a really good job
they have.
of making those kinds of features really accessible, even for those who aren't, tech experts.
Speaking of making things accessible,
I
loved that article about leveraging Notion for developers.
Oh, yeah. Notion is good.
I've been using Notion for a while now.
Yeah.
And it's completely transformed the way I organize my work. It's just so incredibly versatile.
It is. And it's interesting to see how developers are kind of adapting it to their specific needs.
Yeah.
They're using it for everything from project management to documentation to creating like internal wikis.
It's like a digital Swiss Army knife for developers.
Exactly. And because it's, so visually appealing and customizable, it can actually make work more enjoyable.
Right. Okay, let's talk about security again.
All right.
That story about the mega botnet targeting Microsoft 365 accounts was pretty alarming.
Yeah, it was a little scary.
It's a good reminder that even these, biggest companies with sophisticated security measures aren't immune to attacks.
Absolutely. It just highlights that cybersecurity is a constant, it's a constant battle.
Yeah.
Hackers are constantly developing new tactics, and we need to be vigilant about staying ahead of them.
So what can our listeners do to protect themselves?
Well, the basics are still the most important.
Okay.
Use strong, unique passwords for all your accounts.
Right.
Be wary of those phishing emails and keep your software updated.
Okay.
But it's also important to think about security in layers.
Okay.
So enabling two-factor authentication adds an extra layer of protection.
Right.
And using a password manager can help you create and manage all those strong passwords without having to remember them all.
Right. And on a business level, I imagine it's crucial to have a comprehensive security strategy in place.
Absolutely. That includes things like regular security audits, employee training, and incident response plans. It's about creating a culture of security awareness throughout the organization.
Speaking of security awareness,
Those 5 pillars of data cybersecurity that we talked about earlier provide a really solid framework for thinking about data protection.
They do, and they're not just for those big corporations.
Right.
Those principles are relevant whether you're protecting, sensitive business data or your own personal information online.
Now let's shift gears again.
Okay.
And talk about something a bit more fun.
All right.
Powerful Devs Hack Together.
Oh, yes. Love hackathons.
That video series Andrew highlighted.
Uh-huh.
I just love the energy and the creativity that comes out of hackathons.
Oh, no. It's fun.
It's amazing what people can create in such a short amount of time when they just put their minds together.
It's true.
Yeah.
Hackathons are a great way to foster innovation and collaboration. They bring together people with, these diverse skill sets and perspectives to tackle these real-world problems, and they often come up with solutions that wouldn't have been possible.
Right. In a more traditional work environment.
It's like a pressure cooker for innovation.
Exactly. And it's not just about the end product.
Right.
Hackathons are also a great way for developers to learn new skills, network with other professionals, and just have some fun along the way.
So it's a win-win for everyone involved.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about some of the industry news and trends that Andrew highlighted.
Okay.
The news about quantum machines raising $170 million in funding.
Wow.
Is a pretty big deal.
That's huge.
It shows that there's this growing interest and investment in the field of quantum computing.
It's a significant amount of funding, and it's a sign that quantum computing is moving beyond the realm of theoretical research and into the realm of practical applications.
It's still early days, but the potential applications are vast.
They are.
From drug discovery to material science to financial modeling.
Exactly. And as the technology matures, we can expect to see, even more groundbreaking applications emerge. And then there's the news about Velar Atomics coming out of stealth mode with their pilot reactor site for nuclear fusion.
Right.
This is another area where there's always a lot of excitement, but also a healthy dose of skepticism.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Nuclear fusion has been the energy source of the future for decades, but it is incredibly challenging to achieve. But if they can make it work, the benefits would be enormous.
Yeah.
Clean, safe, and virtually limitless energy.
It's like the holy grail of energy production.
Exactly. And while it's important to be realistic about the challenges, the potential payoff is so great that it's definitely worth pursuing.
All right. In the final part of our deep dive, we'll wrap up our exploration of Andrew Kagan's tech newsletter.
Okay.
We'll touch on a few more practical takeaways.
Right.
Discuss the ethical considerations of AI, and leave you with some thought-provoking questions to ponder as you navigate the ever-evolving world of technology. So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into Andrew Kagan's tech newsletter.
Yeah, we have.
From AI agents to quantum computing.
Right. It seems like the future is arriving faster than ever.
It does, but with all these advancements, it's crucial to consider the ethical implications as well.
Right, absolutely.
In the last part, we were talking about the potential impact of AI on jobs.
Yeah.
But there are broader ethical concerns, too.
Yeah.
Like how do we ensure that AI is developed and used responsibly?
That's a big question, and one without any easy answers.
Yeah.
We need to think about bias in algorithms, data privacy, and the potential for AI to be used for, malicious purposes.
It almost feels like we're almost writing the rules for a new world as we go along.
Right.
We're not just dealing with code.
Yeah.
But with the potential impact on society as a whole.
Exactly. And these conversations need to happen now, not after the fact. Yeah.
We need ethicists, policymakers, and technologists all working together to make sure that AI benefits humanity.
Right.
Not just, a select few.
Speaking of benefits, let's circle back to something a little more practical.
Okay.
That article on trackable newsletters in Outlook really piqued my interest.
Yeah.
I can see this being a game changer for marketers.
Yeah.
But it also raises some privacy concerns.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, for sure.
Right.
On the one hand, it gives marketers this incredibly granular data about how their audience is interacting with their content. They can see what's resonating, what's being ignored, and they can tailor their messaging accordingly.
It's almost like having a direct line into the minds of your readers.
In a way, yes, but that's where those ethical considerations come in.
Right.
Marketers need to use this data responsibly.
Yeah.
It's about providing value, not just bombarding people with targeted ads that they never asked for.
And it's about being transparent.
People should know what data is being collected and how it's being used.
Transparency and trust are so crucial, especially as technology becomes more personalized and data-driven.
Okay, before we wrap up,
okay,
there was one last item from Andrew's newsletter I wanted to revisit.
Okay.
That video on SQL databases in Fabric versus Azure SQL.
Right.
Might sound a little dry.
Sure.
But it touches on something that's relevant to any business.
Yeah.
That's dealing with data.
Choosing the right database solution is just critical.
Right.
It affects your efficiency, your scalability, and ultimately your bottom line.
And with so many options available, it can be really overwhelming to figure out which one is the best fit.
Absolutely. That's where resources like that video come in handy.
Right.
They break down all that technical jargon and help you understand, the key differences between the options.
Yeah.
So you can make a more informed decision.
So it's like having a tech consultant in your pocket.
Exactly. And as we generate more and more data, having the right tools to manage it and analyze it is absolutely essential.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Andrew Kagan's tech newsletter.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It has.
Through all the latest trends and innovations.
Yeah. From the practical to the mind-boggling.
It really has been a pleasure exploring these topics with you.
Likewise.
Hopefully our listeners are feeling a little bit more equipped to navigate this ever-evolving world of technology.
And remember, this is just a glimpse into that vast amount of information that Andrew shares in his newsletter.
Yeah.
If you want to stay ahead of the curve, be sure to check out the full version.
Definitely.
You might just discover that random tech news you can use.
Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.
Thanks for joining us.